Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Top 5 Saturdays Live with me, Chase Lee, my co-host,
Brian Sutfield.
That's fucking right. And so if you're new to the show, what we do is we do a top 5 list of something or someone, a genre, or what have you. And we usually pick out the movies that are coming out on Friday, and we do the episode the following day. And so the movies coming out this week, well, there was The Maze Runner, The Scorch Trials, and Black Mass. So obviously we're going to do Black Mass. And so we decided to go with our top 5 Johnny Depp films. Now, the cool thing about this show is not only is it live, so it's pretty much off the cuff. The second thing is we don't know each other's lists. So I have no idea what Brian has. He has no idea what I have. So let's get this started. Let's not waste any time. Now, I got to be honest. There's a lot of Johnny Depp movies I haven't seen. I literally just told Brian this, so I'm gonna say it right. I haven't seen Black Mass yet. I'm seeing it tomorrow. I haven't seen Ed Wood. I haven't seen some of the smaller stuff he's done, like Chocolat or like Finding Neverland. I haven't seen those yet. So there's some of them that it's not I don't have them on there because I hate them because I haven't seen them. So out of the list I do have, I'm comfortable with my 5. So Brian, go ahead and tell the young folks at home how hard this list was for you.
This was pretty hard for me because Johnny Depp is someone that I really grew up with. I've seen so many of his films. I didn't really see many of his older films when he started out. I've seen a few of them, but I've seen more of his films from maybe like the late 90s until now. Like his films from before 96, I didn't really see most of them. But, I mean, like he said, there's a lot of films. There are quite a bit of films of his that I haven't seen, and there are many films of his that I haven't seen that I want to see. But I'm pretty confident in my list.
Okay.
And I did see Black Mass, by the way. I saw it this morning.
Yeah, because he's an asshole. He's an asshole. I mean, cause now he's gonna probably have it on his list somewhere. And
it's not my top 5.
Well, I'm still gonna feel like an asshole because I probably would have put it on my top 5. Our age gap is not that. It's not that big. It's only like what 6 or 7 years. So we kind of grew up around the same time and stuff. So what? Do you remember the first Johnny Depp movie you saw?
I think it might have been the first Pirates film. That came out when I was 5.
Really?
So I think that might have been the first one.
Okay.
I'm not entirely sure. It might have been. It probably was.
I'm thinking. Okay, I'll put it this way. I remember seeing Edward Scissorhands as a kid, but I'm pretty sure I saw Nightmare on Elm Street before that, but I did not. I was not cognizant of him being in there because most people don't associate Johnny Depp with Nightmare on Elm Street. So once I found that out and I realized it, I guess that would count as my first ever one. But at that time, I didn't know it was him. I just thought it was a bunch of random, kids getting chopped up by Freddy's glove or whatever. So I'd have to say Nightmare for sure. My mom is the one that introduced me to the slasher movies, so thank you. So this is going to be an interesting list from both of us. So, but before we get to our list, is there any one of them that didn't really make your list per se?
Edward Scissorhands, Sleepy Hollow, Blow, Rango. Blow, Rango. I'm 12 years old apparently just now. Black Mass is an honorable mention. A Nightmare on Elm Street, Finding Neverland, and Corpse Bride.
Damn. That's actually quite a lot. So I'm actually really curious to see what you did put on there. I only have a couple. Because like I was telling Brian, Johnny Depp to me is the type of person that either hits it really out of the park or he's just kind of so-so or he's really bad. So, and I only have one on my worst list. Just one. That just kind of angered me as to why anyone would make it. But the only 2 I would put in my honorable mentions is Nightmare on Elm Street and Edward Scissorhands. Now you're probably thinking, why would I put Nightmare on Elm Street? Regardless of what you think of the movie, Johnny Depp has the most memorable death of the entire franchise. This is the kid that gets sucked into the bed and the blood goes on the ceiling.
Glenn!
It's the most iconic shot of the entire franchise. So that's why, and plus, I like Freddy. so I'm a little biased. Yeah, so those would be my two honorable mentions. So, guys, let's do it. I have my board ready. Brian goes first as always. So, Brian, what is your number 5 pick for Johnny Depp?
My number 5 goes to the first Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl.
The film that he was actually Oscar nominated for. Did everyone get that?
There are so many people I talked to. They're like, wait, Johnny Depp got nominated for playing Jack Sparrow? And I'm like,
yep.
Yeah, apparently he did. When I found out, I'm like, what? They wouldn't nominate that performance. But you know what? That performance is friggin' fantastic. I don't like. Yes, the franchise has gone downhill. And by the way, those other 3 films are not my dishonorable mentions. They're like in the middle. But he still carries it as Jack Sparrow. That character is fantastic. I don't think anyone could have played him like Johnny Depp. The direction for this film was perfect. I mean, Jeffrey Rush is great as Barbossa. Love the makeup, especially when he turns into a corpse. It's really good makeup. And it's visually great. It's a lot of fun. And I dig it very much. I enjoy Pirates of the Caribbean. I enjoy the first one. I've been around with this franchise ever since I was a little kid. I was 5 years old when the first one came out. And the new one comes out in 2 years. I'll be 19. So, I mean, that's crazy. But, yeah, I just love this film mainly for him because I could just watch Jack Sparrow. And that's the good thing about the franchise. You just watch it mainly for him. And people say, oh, Jack Sparrow's not even that good of a character. He actually is a great character, and Johnny Depp plays him very well. If I would have to pick a character, like excluding Black Mass, if I had to say the best kind of character he played this decade, I would say Jack Sparrow because the 4th Pirates film came out 4 years ago. But yeah, the first Pirates of the Caribbean film was a film I really dug. I still dig it to this day. I haven't watched it in a very long time, and I do want to rewatch it again before the new one comes out in 2 years.
It's a very fun adventure movie, and I will give you this, that regardless of what you think of these movies, if you mention Johnny Depp to 99% of the movie-going audience that me and Brian are not a part of, you ask them, what's the most famous Johnny Depp role? They're gonna tell you Jack Sparrow. I mean, that character has made a mark on pop culture. I mean, what was it like last month? He went to that children's hospital and he dressed up in his Jack Sparrow getup. Yeah, the sick children, and it's like that's pretty awesome, man. Like when you make an impact that much as your character, you're doing something right. And I agree with Brian. I like the first one. It's very fun. Second and third one, it's either near nor there. I don't hate them like everyone else does. And the 4th one was just kind of whatever. It's forgettable. I remember seeing it in the theaters, but then right afterwards I saw the first Thor. So it was like the coolest double header ever. So yeah, I don't really care about the 4th one, but I will agree with you. The first one is still a lot of fun. And yeah, for all you guys that forgot about that, Johnny Depp was nominated for Best Supporting Actor.
Best Actor, actually.
Wait, was it Best Actor?
Yeah.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Oh, hold on. There's a reason why we do these things live, folks. We're gonna look this up. I'm sure Brian is right, and I am.
And you can ask me who he lost the Oscar to. I'll tell you right off the bat.
Okay, let me look it up. Hold on, folks. See, that's the cool thing about not editing this and just kind of winging it. All right. Wow, it's actually got an 8.1 on IMDb. I did not know that. You're right. Best actor in a leading role. If that was supporting. Well, wait. If that was 2004, was that was
no, 2000. It came out in 2003, but the award ceremony was in 2004.
That wasn't Capote's year, was it?
No, Capote was 05.
So who do you lose to?
Sean Penn from Mystic River.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, that makes sense. But yeah, for some weird reason I thought I was supporting. But yeah, that's for all you people that didn't know that is a fact. So it's a very good pick. Very good pick. I'm about to go with one of your honorable mentions. And I think I remember when I went to the theater that day and I sat down and I knew what I was getting myself into because I saw the trailers. I really liked it. I thought he would probably do a good job, and he did do a good job. But it wasn't just the voice casting that was damn near perfect. This has got to be one of the most realistic animated movies I've ever seen in my life. It's just that good. I'm going with Rango, man. I absolutely love Rango. It's a very, very cool kind of like borderline, not kids film, but it's also not an adult film. It's like kind of somewhere in between where everyone can pick and enjoy it. So I really liked Rango when I saw it, and I've seen it a couple times since then. The animation, it's fucking disgustingly realistic. Like, it looks like there's a fucking chameleon on screen wiggling around in his Hawaiian shirt, dancing in the sand. Like, it's terrifying. So
it's the perfect voice casting. Like,
it's so good.
Perfect. And it's from the guy who directed Johnny in the first 3 Pirates movies.
Yep, Gore Verbinski. Another fun fact about Gore, not only did he direct Rango in the first 3 Pirates of the Caribbean, he also directed, in my opinion, the best Japanese remake, period. And that's
The Ring.
He directed The Ring, ladies and gentlemen. So that guy has been directing all over the place. But anyways, Rango is just so much fun. The animation is just breathtaking. And Johnny Depp he has one of those voices that fits a very lost soul inside of a chameleon. He's just trying to find himself and be accepted somewhere. So I love Rango. Check it out.
And it won the Oscar for Best Anime Feature.
It did. And rightfully so. Like, seriously, if you watch that, I can't even imagine what it looks like on Blu-ray. But if you watch that movie, I don't know what type of like engine they use to render their animation, but it is just so goddamn impressive. It's an impressive movie, especially for people that want to go into animation. So, Brian, what is your number? I was going to say the Spanish word of 4, but I forgot. Cuatro. So what's your Cuatro?
My Cuatro goes to What's Eating Gilbert Grape.
Brian, how many weeks have we done this show?
I think this is 14.
This is I think we've been doing it for about, was it 4.5 months?
3 months tops.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the first episode where Brian and I actually have the same movie in the same slot.
Whoa!
With that being said, we'll just kind of go ahead and discuss.
Wait a minute. Didn't we have Terminator 2 at the same spot?
No, I think I had a lot higher than you did.
I had it at number 1. Terminator 2, I had it at number 1.
No, because remember, I think I put True Lies at number 1. Did we?
You might have. We had Inside Out number 1.
Oh, whoops. Okay. Look at it this way. I guess the same slot for number 4. I mean, and that's still pretty impressive because I think Brian and I can both agree that What's Eating Gilbert Grape, unfortunately, is not Johnny Depp's movie. It's Leonardo DiCaprio's movie. But the chemistry between Depp and DiCaprio is not only fantastic, and I actually believe them as brothers. I like how somber Depp is in this movie, and how like humble he is as like a family man and stuff. It's so different and so much more calm down than anything else he's ever done. But I really like it. It's a very sweet movie. He just plays a really good character that takes care of Leonardo DiCaprio, and like I say, he takes care of his family. He's the guy that steps up and just provides and stuff, and it's just a very, very good movie. But Leonardo DiCaprio should have won an Oscar that year. He didn't, and he convinced you that he was mentally challenged and all that stuff, and it's just incredibly good acting. But Johnny Depp, don't knock on him because he's just as good. So those are my thoughts on Gilbert Grape. Like Brian, like when you saw it for the first time, how did it strike you?
It really impacted me very much because, like, I mean, it was just a really, really beautiful film. Like you said, DiCaprio and Johnny Depp working together as brothers. Like it was just a very sweet and humble film, and just so endearing, and it's a really great film. If you guys have not seen that film, if you're a big Leonardo DiCaprio fan, you gotta go see this. This is one of his earliest films. He was nominated for an Oscar. I think he was 18 years old when he made this movie, so he was 1 year older than me when he made this movie. It's crazy. It really is a great film. Like, DiCaprio shouldn't just get all the attention. Johnny Depp also deserves the praise as well. And fun fact, they competed for the Best Actor Oscar in 2004 when he was nominated for Finding Neverland and DiCaprio was nominated for The Aviator, and they might be competing again this year. Who knows?
It seems like they're the two that go head-to-head a lot.
It's crazy. But yeah, Gilbert Grape is a great film, guys. If you haven't checked it out, please check it out. I believe it's on Netflix.
Yeah, and
if you don't have Netflix, then just go buy it.
Yeah,
Buy it.
go buy it. It's actually like a really good movie, and that's where I saw it the first time was Netflix. Like someone recommended it because I listen. Regardless of what you say about Depp and his makeup, he's one of the best actors working today. And so I remember like I was going through my list of like which ones I needed to watch and stuff, and that was one of them. It was on Netflix. I watched it. It's so good. It's so small and just so humble. Love it. It's good. Number 4. So yeah, since we have the same one, I don't need to talk about mine. So Brian, what is your number 3?
My number 3 goes to Ed Wood.
Okay.
I personally, what? Go ahead.
I was going to say, I have not seen this yet, so I want you, especially for people out there that haven't seen it, I want you to sell the audience and sell me as to why this is one of the best and what you just think of the movie overall.
I think it's for a filmmaker myself, it's a great film because, first of all, Johnny Depp plays Ed Wood, who is the worst filmmaker of all time. This film was directed by Tim Burton. It was one of the first films that he and Burton made. I believe he made this after Edward Scissorhands. And it's just it might be, in my opinion, it's Tim Burton's best film. It's not my favorite film of his, but it's his best. Like, best and favorite are two different things. People need to understand that. But, like, if you love, like, filmmaking, you gotta watch this film just for the performances and the acting. Like, Martin Landau was in this. Sarah Jessica Parker, I believe, was in this. Bill Murray was in this. You had a great cast in this. It was shot in black and white. It really was a great film. It's definitely, like, when you look at the films that Burton and Depp have made over the last few years, they haven't been so great. Like Alice in Wonderland, Dark Shadows, bleh. But like these are the kind of films that they should make. If they decide to do another film together, they gotta do something like an Edward Scissorhands or an Ed Wood. They gotta do something like this, and this is why I personally love this film. I still think Tim Burton's one of the best filmmakers we've ever had, and this is the kind of film that you would watch just for the performances. And I think Johnny Depp should have been nominated for an Oscar for this. It was a pretty tough year. I think this came out the same year as Schindler's List, and that's when Tom Hanks won the Oscar for Philadelphia.
Damn, that's such a tight year, man.
Like I don't even think he would have been nominated. He wouldn't even have won even if he was nominated. I'm sorry, he wouldn't have. But yeah, it's a great film. Check it out, guys. It's one Tim Burton's best. It's one Johnny Depp's best. Check it out if you haven't seen it, especially if you're a film lover.
Yeah, I am waiting for the day when either Netflix announces it's on there, or if it's at a relatively good price, I'll probably just blind buy it because I've heard so many good things, and I just want to see it. And that's one of like the only few I haven't seen out of his that I really want to see. There's like 4 or 5 I need to see, but there's 2 of them I really want to see, and Ed Wood is one of them. The other one being Black Mass. So Ed Wood is a good choice, and many people have regarded it as either their favorite Tim Burton movie or favorite Johnny Depp movie. So, shit, man, I just gotta check it out. I gotta stop wasting time before I die tomorrow. I'm kidding. I'm not gonna die. I'm not. It's gonna be okay, everyone. And if I do, Brian will carry the show on without me. So interesting pick. For my number 3. So no, it is a Burton movie. I'm not a fan of musicals. And I remember when I went into the theater that day and I sat down and I was like, you know what? I like Johnny Depp and Tim Burton so much. I'm just like, I'm going to give this a shot. Not a fan of musicals, but hey, it's rated R, so obviously it's going to get my stamp of approval right off the bat. I thought this movie was so much fun. It was so gory, so gothic, and just so inventive. And like I said, I don't particularly care for musicals. But Sweeney Todd, the Demon Barber of Fleet Street, is my 3rd pick for Johnny Depp movies. He plays a fucking cannibal. It's ridiculous. And like I said, I love the musical numbers. I even love Sacha Baron Cohen in it. I think he's great in it. I love Helena Bonham Carter. She's great in it. I love the set design, the art direction. It's got that Tim Burton flair to it. It's just so much fun. And it's so fucking bloody. And I love it. Like, there's nothing more to say. like I said, I've only seen like a few musicals in my life, but I've never had a smile on my face throughout either one of them. And I remember sitting in that theater and I saw it with my friends and I was smiling throughout the entire time. I enjoyed it. And I looked at my friends when I was done. I was like, guys, I really enjoyed that. Like, I'm not particularly fond of musicals, but that was the tits. So Sweeney Todd is my number 3 pick. And Brian, what do you think, man? What do you think?
That's my number 2.
Perfect. It leads into tell me, like, did you see it in the theater for the first time, or did you see it on home video? Like, tell me about.
I was 9 years old when this came out, so I couldn't see it in the theater. Now the thing is, when it came out on DVD, listen, all right, I'm gonna tell you a story. When I was 10 years old, this movie, and I looked up today when this movie came out on DVD. It came out on DVD on April 1st, 2008. I was 10 years old, and that was the first R-rated movie I ever watched in my entire life.
Really?
The first R-rated movie I ever watched. I mean, that year I watched a lot of R-rated movies. I watched Alien secretly that year for the first time.
I would tell your fucking parents, man.
So, but this is my personal favorite Tim Burton film. I think before Black Mass, I would have said that this was Johnny Depp's best performance of the last 10 years. He was nominated for an Oscar for this. Very well deserving. Say what you want about his singing. He gives a fantastic performance. Like, his acting alone is great, and his singing was pretty good. The musical numbers are fantastic. His song alone is fantastic. All the other performances do good. And you forgot to mention Alan Rickman.
I forgot he was in it. Yeah,
Judge Turpin. I was just watching this movie the other night. Like, I came home from work and I'm like, "What's on TV?" It's Sweeney Todd's ironically on. I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna watch this no matter what." It is a very bloody film, and that's the only reason why it's rated R. It's only rated R for the blood. There's no language in it. There's nothing like dark about. Well, actually, yeah, it is a pretty dark movie.
I think that's what I like about it the most, because most musicals, yeah, they got themes and stuff, and you know, they talk about life issues and whatnot. This one's like pure fantasy, man, and it just like completely just goes bonkers off the wall. And I think that's why I like it so much, because it's different. It's different among that genre. So yeah, you're right. The blood helps it because it's so much fun.
Yeah, and it is kind of over the top, the blood, but it's not like cliche. It's over the top in the best way possible. Like, it's a really entertaining musical. It gets very dark in the last 20 minutes. I mean, I'm like having a great time, and then a lot of people like, it's crazy like what goes on in the last 20 minutes. It like, and you like, he's a bad guy, but you understand where he's coming from. Like, you feel like you're like, "Oh, I hate you for what you're doing, but I'm still rooting for you nonetheless." Like, I mean, it's definitely something different for him. It's probably his darkest performance ever. And people might say, "Oh, what about Black Mass?" Black Mass is pretty dark, but this is definitely his darkest performance he's ever done.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to point out, yes, he plays Whitey Bulger in Black Mass. In Sweeney Todd, he kills people and cooks them. Okay? Like, that's pretty fucking dark. So
it's definitely Tim Burton's darkest film, and as well as Johnny Depp's darkest film. But yeah, it's endlessly rewatchable. It's a very fast-paced film. It clocks in, I believe, at 2 hours, and it feels like 1 hour long because I'm so engaged into it. If I had one little flaw with it, I would say that the way it ended was a little too, I don't know, it didn't end perfectly, but it ended very strongly. I love this film to death. I think it's a great film, and yeah, like, if you don't like musicals, then should you watch it? I don't know. Maybe you'll dig it. Chase just said he doesn't like musicals, and he dug this film.
It just depends, because there's some people that don't really like graphic violence. I get that. So that might turn them off, and the subject matter might turn them off.
Yeah.
But if you do like musicals and you want to see something done differently, especially with Tim Burton's like cinematography, art direction, and costume design stamp all over it, it's worth the time, man.
It's crazy, like, how many like awesome people are in this. Like, you have Jack Sparrow, then you got Bellatrix Lestrange, and then Severus Snape, and then you got fucking Borat in one movie, and it's like crazy. It's awesome. Great film. I love it to death. I wouldn't say this is my favorite movie musical. It's high up there, but it's definitely one of them. Guys, check out Sweeney Todd if you haven't seen it. Just give it a shot. If you don't like it, then you don't like it. But me and Chase think it's a very, very good film. I'm curious to know what Chase's top 2 films are.
I think I got both of our. I think I got your number one nailed because you haven't mentioned it yet. Well, unless you did in your honorable mentions, I forgot.
Ooh, this is actually good.
If not, what the fuck is it? Well, let me get to my number 2, and we'll go from there. So, with Black Mass, he plays a gangster. Johnny Depp has played multiple gangster, mobster, drug lord type roles before. So my top 2 spots are going to be just that. Number 2, I'm going to go with the Colombian cocaine drug overlord of George Young, I believe. That's how you pronounce it. In Below, Son. I saw this movie like a couple years ago for the first time. And first of all, I'm like a sucker for those types of movies. Brian, I don't know how you feel about them, where you take an innocent person and you corrupt them so much, and then you see the rise and fall of their life. I love those types of stories. I'm a sucker for them. And this one is no different. Also, when I watched this, I didn't know who was in it. Fucking Paul Rubens is in this. Paul Rubens helps him with some of the cocaine shipments, and it's absolutely hilarious. So, because he wears like a wig, and the only thing I was thinking of, I was like, when is he gonna bust out and be like, be Pee-wee and like give Johnny Depp advice on cocaine? So, it's a really good one, and it's actually co-written by Nick Cassavetes, who is the director of The Notebook. So there's your little tidbit. It's just a really cool drug movie about this guy, and this is based on a real person, and it does show like this guy that saw the advantage of this drug, took advantage of it, and just ran with it and created this big ass empire. So yeah, it's a good one. And plus, Penelope Cruz. You never can go wrong with her. So,
and they worked together in the 4th Pirates film, and that was incredibly jealous. When they kissed in Pirates, I was jealous.
Yeah, Javier Bardem, you lucky son of a bitch. So anyways, Blow is a very good Johnny Depp film with a great performance. Really cool drug movie. So that's my number 2. Now, Brian, give me your list of honorable mentions again.
Edward Scissorhands, Sleepy Hollow, Blow, Rango, Black Mass, Nightmare on Elm Street, Finding Neverland, and Corpse Bride. Okay, we have the same number 1. Crap.
I'm like 99% positive. If not, I'm actually curious of what the fuck he has.
Go ahead, say it.
Our number 1s. It's a mobster movie, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so we both have Donnie Brasco.
Yes.
Okay, so with that being said, Donnie Brasco. Now, I told Brian this story, and I'll tell you guys. I was out with my family. We went to Arkansas, and I'm a huge sucker for antique shops. Don't fucking judge me. I always look for either DVDs, Blu-rays, or comic books at antique shops, and I usually just kind of shop around or whatever. So we went to one in Arkansas, and I found this bad boy in the pawn shop, and I had never seen it before. I was like, you know what? I think it was only $3. So I was like, I'm going to take the gamble. Even if it's a shitty Johnny Depp movie, I'll take the gamble. So I got it, and I watched it literally 2.5 weeks ago, and I loved it. This, and plus this is the extended cut. I watched the extended cut, which is all this is, and it's 20 minutes longer. I couldn't find any scenes that you could cut out to make it theatrical. So I don't know. I really enjoyed the extended cut, but anyways, he plays an FBI agent, Donnie Brasco, and he tries to infiltrate the mob. And one of the mob leaders is played by Al Pacino. So Johnny Depp, is friends with them, and they try to get information. He gets so far into it to where he thinks he's a mobster, but it's like, hey Johnny, you're still a fucking agent. I was trying to think of some of the cast members besides those two. I mean, wait. Oh, Michael Madsen. That's who I was thinking. I was like, I was like, Quentin Tarantino favorite. Quentin Tarantino favorite. Michael Madsen's also in this. It's actually directed by the guy that directed Harry Potter 4. So there's a little tidbit for you. Yeah, this is a terrific crime movie. I loved the subtleness of Depp as he was starting out in this movie, and then towards the end, he gets so enveloped into this world that he slicked his hair back. He looked like a fucking mobster, and he was like, "Hey, yo, hey, man, you fucking sub," or however the fuck Brian and everyone else up there talks. But yeah, no, it's just a really good crime movie. You feel so sad for this guy because he's just doing his job, but he gets so lost in his role. He doesn't even know who he is anymore. And before Brian talks about it, the last thing I'm going to end with is there was a scene in the movie, not going to spoil or anything, but like there was a scene with his wife. And do you remember, Brian, in the garage where like that was the one point where I felt so bad for his character? I was like, Johnny, man, what are you doing? Like, fucking, you're an agent. Get out of that. So yeah, because at some point he gets so angry with his wife, and he pretty much just yells at her, and it's like, wow, Al Pacino has fucked you up, boy. So yeah, I really like it, and like I said, I have the extended cut, so I don't know what the fuck could have been cut out. So I enjoyed every single minute of this. So Brian, why is Donnie Brasco your number one?
Well, I am a sucker for crime films. Crime is my favorite genre. My favorite film of all time is a crime film. The thing with Donnie Brasco is that this was when Johnny Depp was like doing a lot of really good stuff. This came out in '97. I mean, at the time, like you got Johnny Depp who was starting to become bigger, and then you have Al Pacino who was already like big. With Pacino and Depp working together, that's like great. That's awesome. I mean, the story is very fascinating of how he's a part of this game. I mean, do you remember the scene in the restaurant involving the shoes?
Yes.
I mean, that scene is, oh God, that scene is amazing.
Yeah.
Like you feel bad, like you said, you feel bad for his character because like something goes on. His character's like, oh, I'm not going to do anything. And then his character does something, and then he like feels bad. Like you see the emotion inside of him, like you just feel so bad. There's a line in the car. There's a line scene which kind of like makes me go, what the fuck? The Fugazi scene is awesome. But yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I was gonna say like one of my other favorite parts was when Paul Giamatti is also in this, very shockingly. And so when he's talking with Paul, because he's a FBI like recorder or whatever, so he's like just telling him about his life in the mob. And I remember he was like, Paul Giamatti was like, "Hey, so what's forget about it?" He's like, "Yeah, it's like forget about it, you know? It's like." And then they went into this whole spiel on like what "forget about it" means and everything. I thought that was really fascinating. I forgot to mention, I love these type of bookend movies where it starts out on a shot and ends with the same shot but with a different perspective. Like for instance, Gone Girl, 2014, very good David Fincher film. It opens up with a shot of Rosamund Pike turning towards the camera, with Ben Affleck basically saying, I'm going to bash your brains in. And then at the end of the movie, it shows that same shot again, but Ben Affleck has a different set of dialogue after the adventure we just went through, and it has a completely different perspective on the matter. So with this one, I'm not going to say I'm going to tell you what the shot is, but I'm not going to tell you what's said or what's happening. It's his eyes. It ends on his eyes. It starts out with Johnny Depp's eyes, and it ends with them. And you can probably tell how the journey is going to go, but it's so different. And it's just amazing how it starts out and where it fucking ends. Because it's such an emotional movie of this guy that's just lost in this world. He needs to get back to who he truly is. So, whew, it's a good one, guys. It's a good one. And like I said, I haven't seen Black Mass yet, so that can take the cake for me in terms of mobster or drug lord movies that he's done. And he's done, like, for instance, he did Public Enemies. I didn't really care about that movie, so that's why I didn't put it anywhere on my list or anything. But he played a mobster there. So I mean, like he's really good at playing mobsters. So Johnny, keep playing mobsters in Jack Sparrow. Just do this.
And mainly real people. No more makeup except for Jack Sparrow.
Yeah, Jack Sparrow's fine. Just no makeup. And speaking of makeup, let's get into some of the worst. Now I only have one, and that's because
it's a Tim Burton film, isn't it?
It's a Tim Burton film, and it's the last one they did.
Oh boy, here we go.
Yep, it's so awfully written. It's got some of the worst jokes I've ever heard.
The only good thing about that movie is the soundtrack, and that is it.
The soundtrack's fine. It's just, why would you try to resurrect from an old TV show that wasn't even that popular to begin with? Sure, it had its fan base, but it wasn't like something like a 21 Jump Street. So, Dark Shadows. I didn't care about it. I saw it in theaters, did not care about it one bit. But that's the only movie of his that I've actually seen to where I was like, I didn't really like it. Every other makeup role he's done, the movie's like whatever. I don't get like furious at his makeup movies. I'm just like whatever. But Dark Shadows is one of the worst makeup movies he's done thus far. Did not care for it at all. It's just, there's just nothing there. Nothing is offered that will entice you to see it at all. Maybe the art direction and the costume,
or maybe the sex scene with him and Eva Green. I don't know.
I mean, that's pretty cool. So I mean, like it's got like that Tim Burton flair to it. Like I said, it's got his stamp. But I hated the characters and the dialogue and the jokes, and it's just anticlimactic. It was just dumb.
Yeah, I know. One of the dumb jokes is, we don't have horses, we have a Chevy. That's funny. Yeah,
that wasn't the worst one.
That's the only one I remember. That's why.
Well, this one's in the trailer, and even when it plays in the movie, it's fucking nauseating. When he's like, back in my village, we just get stoned. Yeah, I bet you do. I don't know what the fucking joke was, but he made like a stone joke because he's a vampire, and he means.
It's like I have to think. Oh, they tried to stone me once; it did not work.
Yeah, it's stupid. Stop it. No. That's my only like worst pick for Johnny Depp, but overall I still love you, dude. Like, please do your thing. You do you. Just do you, man, and you'll be fine. So Brian,
do Amber Heard.
Oh god.
Lucky fuck.
Woo! Yeah, he's also one lucky son of a bitch. So what are some of the ones that you just didn't really care for?
Dark Shadows is a dishonorable mention of mine. The Lone Ranger. Ugh. And see, like, Johnny was okay at Dark Shadows. He wasn't, like, god-awful. He was just, Yeah, Lone Ranger is not a very good film. Alice in Wonderland was a pretty disappointing film. Yeah. I'm not looking forward to the sequel.
I'll say this. It wasn't bad. I just thought it was super disappointing. Like what Ryan said.
Like, I don't know how to feel about the sequel that's coming out in May. It's from the guy who directed the recent 2 Muppet films, so maybe it'll be better. I have no clue. Transcendence, one of the most disappointing films I've seen in a very long time. Very disappointing, because this was one of the first films where he was going back to playing someone that wasn't in makeup. And it fucking sucks. It made me want to go to sleep. I wasted $7. Thanks, Warner Brothers, and thank you, Wally Pfister, for making a shitty film. And finally, the film that almost was my worst. This movie kind of ruined my childhood. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Let me ask you something, Chase. Are you a fan of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory?
I indeed am, and I think Gene Wilder plays an excellent Willy Wonka.
Thank you. And yeah, it's crazy how they would just remake it, because here is the thing. Like, the first 10 to 15 minutes of this movie, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, are really strong. They're really good. But, like, and then when he comes on, he acts all Michael Jackson and Prince. Oh, it's so bad. It's so bad. I hate why he made this film. I really don't understand. Do you not understand how it has like an 80% on Rotten Tomatoes?
I guess
how is that possible?
I guess people just did not see the original and just don't care to.
But you know what's so interesting? Like, at first people were like, it's an okay film, because I saw this when I was a little kid. I'm like, it was fine. As I got older, I'm like, this film sucks. It's just... I don't know if you ever heard about this. Martin Scorsese was originally supposed to direct this film. But Johnny Depp wasn't, like, in talks to play him. Can you imagine Martin Scorsese directing Charlie and the Chocolate Factory?
You know what? I actually would be okay with that, just because we've seen what he did with Hugo, and it's like, he probably could have pulled it off. So, I mean, I don't know. Could have been good.
It would have been weird, but yeah, like, the first line, or one of the first lines he says, it's just so dumb. Good morning, Starshine. The Earth says hello. Shut up. Just shut up and go die, Willy Wonka. Not Gene Wilder, Willy Wonka. Johnny Depp, Willy Wonka, just go and die, please. Just go. Okay, but my worst is... It's the Taurus.
Wow.
The Taurus. Oh. Him and Angelina Jolie. What? This film was nominated for 3 Golden Globes. How? How?
The Foreign Press Association loves that fucking movie for some weird.
What? Are you? That's like the worst reviewed film that they nominated. That's crazy. It sucks. It's so melodramatic. It is not fun at all. It's not thrilling in any way. It just sucks. It really sucks. And I feel bad for him and Angelina Jolie for doing a film like this. It really just sucks. And like, he's pretty bad in the movie, as is she. But I can't blame them. I blame the director and the writer. But yeah, the Taurus just sucks. It's garbage.
I didn't see it, nor do I want to. Thank you. Yeah, it never appealed to me, ever. And I remember I was working at the movie theater at the time it came out. I still didn't want to see it. And I saw movies for free back in the day. So, yeah, it did not entice me. So, with that being said, guys, let me pull it up like usual every single week. Here is my list. Here is Brian's list. We have 2 actually. I think this is this is actually a first. I think this is the first time we actually have 2 in the same place. And we actually have 3 in common. Yeah. So this is actually a pretty close list. I'm actually pretty impressed. So those are our lists for Johnny Depp films. It was quite an episode to do it on, because Johnny Depp is just one of those actors to where, dude, if you just keep making the right decisions, just keep doing your thing, man. Like, this guy, if he's around on Earth, he's going to be acting for many more decades. And I just can't wait to see what he does next. And with that being said, I cannot wait to see fucking Black Mass tomorrow. Oh, I'm going to feel so dirty. I just want to, I'll probably go home and take a shower afterwards. It's going to feel magical. It's going to feel good. So with that being said, Brian, as always, will introduce next week's episode.
Next week, there are so many films coming out. We got The Green Inferno. We got Everest expanded to wide release. We got The Intern. So, we are going to be honoring one of the most legendary actors of all time. We are going to be talking about our top 5 Robert De Niro films. And as you can see, Chase is trying to do an impression, and he looks like he's having a seizure.
You know, it's kind of like one of those things where, like, my Robert De Niro is probably not going to be up to par, so thank you. No, I can't do a De Niro. Yeah, no, I can't do it. Yeah, no, so we're going to be doing Robert De Niro tomorrow. Or not tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
So we're going to do one tomorrow as well. No, I'm excited because one of the movies that just, like, actually both of these this year. I saw Taxi Driver and Raging Bull this year for the first time. So you probably can guess it's going to be on there somewhere.
There might be a lot of There's going to be a lot of Scorsese films on our list, guys.
Yeah.
Maybe there'll be just one. Who knows?
I'm going to bet you $50 that at least 2, I'll say at least 3 are from Scorsese. At least 3. Yeah. But no, I got to catch up on some of them. And I think there's a couple on Netflix I got to watch, like, what is it, Cape Fear?
Yeah. Come out wherever you are. That's Cape Fear.
Yeah, I got to see Cape Fear, which is Scorsese. But no, that's one of the ones I got to see. I heard he was really good in that. So I might have to catch up on a couple of them. But so with that being said, guys, that will do it for another episode of Top 5 Saturdays Live. Brian, where can the people find you online?
You can find me on Twitter at BrianSuts98 and on YouTube at Brian Sutfield.
All right, so and then you can find me at Twitter at RealChaseLean. All of my links and Brian's links will be in the description below, so you can go check it out in that description box. My friend's band Fervent Roze he does the intro and outro music to this segment, so check them out. Link will be in the description below for that. So we will see you guys next week for another episode of Top 5 Saturdays Live. I guess we'll see you next week. So I'm Chase Lee.
I'm Brian Sutfield.
That's fucking right. So we'll see you guys next week. So let's play it out. Oh, Johnny Depp, man. That guy. He's rich. He's got a hot wife. He's got me. He's one of the best human beings. All right, we'll see you guys later.